We the people unite.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's Hey, we the people unite. We are all here. Say hey.
Hey.
All right, Keisha, Maureen, Andrea, Mo, Anitra, and Katie. We are all here tonight. How's it going? We usually talk behind. We always talk in the green room, so to speak, before we come on. We have some really deep discussions. So when we come on, it's like, wait, didn't we just say how we were all doing? We're here.
Seems like there's some frustration among everybody, just with everything, some disappointment with the Texas election, how it went. Feel a little cheated. I do personally. I feel like once again we're doing voter suppression, and on top of the voter suppression that already exists, and it's not, she did not have a fair and election, and everybody just seems to, I should say everybody, a majority of people are okay with that because it's her. And I just feel like I feel cheated and a little bit wounded.
I think
and we'll talk about that.
And I think the thing that scares me is this is just a preview of what they're going to try to do in November. And I think that what they're going to try to do in November is going to be 1,000 times worse. That's my fear.
Those are I'm going to talk for a minute before we head into our topics. But if you're in the chat, please let us know you're here. Say hello. And let us know where you're from. If you're new, if you're just joining us for the first time, we would love to know where you're from, and we love to have conversations here. So let's kind of get started. So tonight we're looking at really two big stories, right? That raise very different but equally serious questions. So first, Andrea, what the hell happened in Texas? Primary yesterday, and we'll talk about that because I'm going to come to you in a minute, because reports started coming in. Voters are being turned away from the polling locations after the rules changed that left many people confused about where they were supposed to vote. Courts had to step in, polls were extended and then not, right? So we'll talk about that. And now some ballots may or may not count, depending on how the legal fight plays out. What the hell? So whenever voters show up and can't cast a ballot, that should concern all of us, regardless of party. Because because we were just talking about that, when we go into the midterms, this is going to be a serious question. Can we trust the system at this point? So after we talk about that, we really want to turn our attention to overseas, because holy cow, what the hell's going on over there? So tensions are rising after Iran launched retaliatory strikes following our unlawful military action against that country. And new reports, and this breaks my heart, that a girls' school was hit during the attacks. And so it raises some really serious humanitarian concerns, and again reminds us how quickly conflicts can spiral once retaliation begins. So tonight we're going to kind of slow down and look what we actually know so far, and then talk about some of these new developments and what we think about it. So before we go to the first video, Andrea, you live in Texas.
Yeah, I live in Texas, and one thing I did living in Texas, I had the opportunity to go to Dallas about a week ago, and I went with my second mother to vote during the primaries, and what I noticed first of all is that they had two separate lines, one for the Democrats and one for the Republicans, and the line with the Republicans, I noticed that the lady was coming out and saying, "What party are you in?" and then leading them into the room if they were a Republican. And I'm wondering, why aren't you leading us into the room? We're just standing here, but they led the Republicans in the room. So, And so when I got into the room and I told them, you know, I showed them my ID, I couldn't vote in Dallas because I don't live in that county. I don't live in Williamson County. But I found that unusual. So I still went and took my ID and everything up to see if they're going to even let me vote. You know, I said, well, let me see. You know, they shouldn't let me vote because I'm in the wrong county. But I don't understand the two lines. And that's what I was trying to relate to some of the ladies last night. They had the two different lines. And then last night, they had the one line and two different ballots. So, you know, it's a lot of stuff went on in Texas last night that I'm not quite sure of, but I'm not surprised by, because every time we have a chance to win, even when what's his name, the Mexican guy that lives in San Antonio, when he ran for governor, he almost won. I thought he was going to win, but this country, it seems like a country, this state is not ready. It's not ready. And for us, they're ready, but they're not ready because Abbott wants to stay in charge. Trump wants to stay in charge, and they can't manipulate everything if they get us in. That's what they're scared. They don't want to, they will lose control, and they're scared of losing control. It's not the money, it's power. They got the money. They already manipulated us and took our money. They took that back when we were slaves. They took the money. And then when we were trying to achieve money, they took the money, burnt our stuff down, and made sure that we didn't even have grocery stores in our neighborhood. And that's why they call food deserts. So Texas has never been right, and they'll pay for that. They'll pay for that. It'll happen. It'll happen. It's gonna come
eventually. Well, let's listen. Thank you, Andrea. Before we all comment, let's listen to a little bit from Rachel about what happened, and then we'll go from there.
Breaking news out of Texas as we continue to watch the Democratic U.S. Senate primary. There, as you see, this is what we've got right now. 45% of the vote in. James Tallarico leading Jasmine Crockett right now, 53 to roughly 46%. But again, less than half the vote in. And one of the things we've been watching closely all night since we first sat down at this desk is the question of Dallas County. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett represents a district in Dallas. And Dallas County has had problems with the administration of their election today. We've been explaining that over the course of the night. I'm going to go right now to Evan Smith, who's the host of Overheard with Evan Smith on Austin PBS. He's a veteran observer of Texas politics, he's got 30 years experience doing that. And Evan, I'd like you to explain to us again what had happened earlier today in Dallas County, why things have been chaotic there, and now this new reporting about a judge's order about the extension of voting there.
Right. So as we talked about earlier, Rachel, the Republican Party in Dallas County decided they did not want to have countywide elections. They wanted to make people go to their assigned polling place locally. And if the Republicans say you can't have countywide, then the Democrats can't have countywide. So Democratic voters showed up thinking they were going to be able to vote at the places around the county they had voted, and they were turned away. And there was a big push to try to extend voting in Dallas County as a result of that, to give those people an opportunity to vote after all. A Dallas judge ordered the polls open until 9. Well, Attorney General Ken Paxton asked the Texas Supreme Court within the last couple of hours to overturn the Dallas judge's ruling. And according to reporting from my former colleague Eleanor Klibanoff of the Texas Tribune, the Texas Supreme Court has just temporarily blocked that judge's order to keep the polls open until 9, ordering the county to separate out the votes from people who were not in line at 7 o'clock. This throws a monkey wrench into the vote count in Dallas County. Whether those votes are going to count or not, we have no idea what's going to happen. It's a temporary ruling, but goodness, this is a mess, Rachel. It was already a mess. It's more of a mess now.
This is a pause of the vote extension in Dallas County. Are people being stopped from voting right now?
What I know is that the county is being told you have to take the votes that were cast in the last 2 hours. It's coming up upon that 9 o'clock hour central here in Texas right now. You have to take the votes that were cast by people who are not in line at 7 o'clock, push them to the side, and the fate and the status of those votes is now unknown. And of course, if you're Jasmine Crockett, you're thinking this is terrible for you, because this is the county where you're going to hopefully roar back into contention in this race.
And this is as you said, it was a Dallas judge who ordered the extension of voting in Dallas County. And then it was U.S. Senate candidate and sitting Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who asked for an individual state Supreme Court judge to weigh in and essentially overturn that other judge's ruling?
Ask the Supreme Court of Texas if they would come in and temporarily block that Dallas judge's order, and the Supreme Court came back and said, yes, we temporarily block it.
Do we know, is it multiple judges on the Texas Supreme Court, or is it one judge's ruling?
I mean, I don't know whether it was one judge or multiple, but my sense is that the court institutionally, as opposed to one assigned justice individually, but that's something we'll determine here in the course of the report.
Yeah, this is crazy stuff. Evan Smith, keep talking to your sources and do what you can to help us understand this. I think we'll be coming back to you. I can tell you, for all the lawyers who are listening to you right now, who are going to understand what I'm about to tell you, this is from the Supreme Court of Texas. Orders pronounced. A stay is issued in the following petition for writ of mandamus in re State of Texas from Dallas County. The district court's order granting emergency petition to extend voting hours issued today in cause number styled Cardell Coleman in his capacity as Dallas County Democratic Party chair versus Paul Adams in his official capacity as Dallas County Elections Administrator in the 162nd District Court, Dallas County, Texas, is stayed, meaning the earlier ruling that was in place that extended Dallas County voting, that order is stayed. And then here's the money quote. Voting should occur only as permitted by Texas Election Code Section 41-032. Votes cast by voters who were not in line to vote at 7 p.m. local time should be separated. Note, the petition for writ of mandamus remains pending before this court. Chris Hayes, what do you make of this?
Well, you gotta keep in mind that when they did the gerrymandering and changed the districts, people in Dallas no longer knew, and not just Dallas and other areas in Texas didn't know where to go vote. And so they went to their normal polling places and were not allowed to vote. And that's how they ended up at these different places 2 hours, an hour, 2 hours after the election.
I heard, is this correct? I had read that the website had not been updated.
That's
based
correct.
On the new rules. The website had not been updated so that people could find out where they were supposed. That's bullshit.
It pisses me off.
That is bullshit.
But keep in mind that was done all over the state of Texas. That was not just done in Williamson County. It was done all over Texas. So it was set up from when Trump made that first phone call.
All right, let's hear from Jasmine, and then we'll talk.
We were able to keep the polls open, but I can tell you now that people have been disenfranchised. We don't have any of the results because there was a lot of confusion today. The polls were supposed to stay open until 9, according to a court order. The Supreme Court, just a few minutes ago, just said, shut it down. The Supreme Court also said that they are to separate any votes out that came in after 7 p.m. So here's the deal. I have no idea how it is that clerks are going to know who was in line by what time, because the rule is that if you're in line by 7, then you get to vote. And so once there was a court order saying you had until 9, I'm sure that there were people that joined the line after 7. They now are telling them that you have to separate the votes out. What this means is that we will not know what votes are to be tallied from Election Day out of Dallas County. For sure, we won't know that tonight.
Oh, jeez.
Will you ever know the correct answer?
Nope.
No, but she's right. How in the hell are you supposed to know who came in line after 7?
They don't want to know because it was a voter. It was a sabotage. They're saboteurs, and it's crooked and it's cheating, and that's part. I'm not gonna cover it up. That's America. Sometimes it's just cheat shit.
I've been wondering who the Republicans actually wanted to win the Senate race, because in some ways it seems like they didn't want Jasmine to win because she actually could have beat the Republican candidate. Just the way that they, and I know it wasn't just about her, but the way they sabotaged the votes, especially with, when you consider the number of Black voters who would have gone to Jasmine Crockett, who are very disappointed that she didn't win and are having hurt feelings to the point where they feel like James Tallarico's campaign did not pay them any attention. And they're like, he's got to work to earn our votes. I'm wondering if they banked on that and her not winning because they don't think that James Tallarico will actually get the votes he needs to win against a Republican candidate.
I actually feel the same way, Keisha, because I was thinking about the fact that Texas may be in trouble. I believe that it's going to remain red. And here's my theory. It's pretty much what you said. Jasmine not only electrified the base, she would bring people out who are not voting. She would incentivize people to actually get up off the couch and vote. Tallarico, while I don't think that he's a bad candidate, I just don't think that he is going to rally the Black vote. And if you're going to win in Texas, you need to have the Black vote. And I don't believe that even some of the Latino vote that came out for him, I think that was just a vote against Jasmine. I don't think it was necessarily a vote for Tallarico. And I believe that a lot of those voters are then going to come out and vote Republican at the end of the day. I just don't believe he's going to be able to carry it out.
Well, they said that more Democrats came out for this vote than the presidential election.
Exactly. They know that the tide is turning against Republicans. And you think about the fact that Trump basically intervened to make sure that James Tallarico's interview on Stephen Colbert became viral by saying, you can't air that. So that gave him even more of a bump. So it just makes me wonder, like, who did they actually want to win? And I'm starting to think they wanted him to win because they don't think he can beat the Republican candidate the way she could have.
Well, didn't both Republican go through for the primary? What was it? For Senate?
Yeah, John Cornyn and Ken dishonest.
So
he's as dishonest as Trump is. And
so I think that with that and the record-breaking number of people that came out to vote, I think that also might work in the Democrats' favor. Because if they have two different Republican candidates, I mean, it was almost split down the middle between those two. So the fact that they won't be able to choose one of the two would then lead possibly to Tallarico.
And that's what they think Tallarico is going to win, but they said he's already bought by the whoever you call them, people that pay you.
Big PACs or something like that.
Yeah,
PACs.
They say he's already bought.
I believe it.
Well, he
that's
claims
so sweet. It had to be a plan.
No, he claims that he didn't take any big donor or corporate money. That's what he claims.
That's why Donald Trump said no more wars.
Well, I found out today there's some sneaky ways to do it without being immediately detected, but sleuths will get them. But I don't know what the thing is, but I know it was in his favor, and I feared. I looked at it as I wanted her to win. However, because I like Jasmine, I didn't mind Tallarico. However, I said she's up against a white male, regardless of what party you're in Texas, and. They didn't even tell the slaves. Some of the slaves, they was free for a couple of years until a couple of years after. So I'm just saying.
Galveston.
I'm just saying. So I was like, she's gonna have a hard time. And then the next one, like you said, I don't think it's gonna pull the people out. I don't think he has that kind of cred. It's kind of like JD Vance. He affiliate to the clique, but he's not really in the clique.
Yeah. Well. And they fear strong, independent, smart women regardless of race. Mm-hmm. And that's another big issue. So let's listen to a little bit more of this.
Well, I mean, at one level, it's pretty insane to have a candidate who's on the ballot being the litigant who gets to decide. I mean, he's the state attorney general, but getting to weigh in. I don't know if there's a particular valence to those votes at that hour for him. I think it's mostly about the Democratic primary. It also feels a little bit to me like if the calculation of the Republican establishment is that Crockett's an easier candidate to beat, that this goes against that, but like he's just doing it for love of the game. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he's just super committed to making it hard for people to vote as just a deeply held view. And you know what I mean? Like
and making it hard to vote in Dallas.
Yeah,
so in a big purple/red state, you take the cities that are very blue and you say those places have terrible voting. Look what a mess.
And so there's not like 3D chess here. It just seems like I don't like the fact that they extended voting hours because there's confusion. I want them to take that back.
But Chris, the three-dimensional chess is tonight isn't that important. It's November.
Right.
So as soon as they're starting to cause chaos and mistrust now, things are messy. When they're disastrous in November, it's like, well, we saw this coming.
Yeah, no, and that's an important thing to keep in mind, right? I mean, also this idea that you're going to segregate out these ballots based on who's online at 7 o'clock.
You can't.
And I generally just wanted to take a step back because we can get in the weeds here. There is no reason to think that there's any illegitimate or fake votes in the entire pool.
Yes.
There's no reason to think any of that.
No voter did anything wrong.
No one did anything wrong. There was confusion. So like you should always default to what will allow the most amount of actual legitimate voters to cast votes in an election. Again, whoever it is, whether that would benefit a Republican candidate or a Democratic candidate or the candidate you want or the candidate you don't, like just as a general principle. Yeah. And one of the things that's crazy about the world we live in, it is increasingly going to be the case that there are going to be places in which lower voter turnout would probably help Democrats and Republicans. And it's still the case that as a matter of principle, you should intervene on behalf of the maximal amount of voters being able to vote.
But doesn't this even hurt voter turnout in the fact that if these people are standing in line waiting to vote, at some point, a lot of them just say, forget about it. Yeah. I got to go home. I got to feed my kids dinner. I got to feed the cat. At some point, people are like, it's not worth it.
They do, but I would bet that's a smaller percentage of the people standing in line, number one. Number two, again, Republicans using the boniest part of their head right now in looking at this are not understanding what they're doing. They're setting up Texas to flip in November because they are systematically pissing off the voters there at the end of the day. There are, as we've already indicated tonight, there are voters who are moving out of the Republican column to vote in the Democratic primary because they do not like what the Republicans are doing. There are more Republicans who are voting tonight in the Republican column who are looking at this just saying, well, why are you doing? First off, what does this have to do with the Republican primary? How does this impact Ken Paxton, right? There is no impact on Ken Paxton. To your point, Chris, this is a maximalist impact that they can bring to bear on what they want to label as corruption. To your point, it sets up the argument and the narrative that they want to put in place this November across the country.
Yes.
When that confusion sets in, when voters are bemused and don't know and they show up at the wrong polling place, see, we told you there was corruption, shut it down.
Well, in the narrative, let's be specific about it.
I wanted to make sure we got through his point, right? About November. About what do you think about his point that this is going to backfire because it's going to cause more people to want to come out and fight against this? What do you think about that comment?
Can I comment real quick about James Tallarico? Because the last couple of days I've been diving pretty deep into like who is giving money to all of these Congress and Senate, like the House and the Senate. So James Tallarico, somebody had stated, did not take any money from big PACs, which is true. The only PAC he took from in his 2022 campaign was a PAC called Legacy 44, which is supporting Texas Democrats who will ensure all children, regardless of zip code, income, or ability, can access a high-quality public education. Because I believe he was a middle school teacher. at one point. And he also is sponsored by the Jane Fonda Climate PAC, the Texas Farm Bureau, and then some labor unions and like state, county, municipal employees. So everything I've seen, and this is from a couple of different sites, it's not just like one, but if you dig hard enough, you can find a lot of info out there that'll help you try to figure that out. Now they don't have the results from 2024, but I doubt much has changed, but who knows? But that's
good to know. Thank you, Katie.
Recorded data, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming Tallarico, but he is a recipient of voter suppression. So, in my opinion, he didn't win fairly, but it is what it is. They're gonna play dirty. It's gonna happen in during the midterms, and nobody's gonna do a damn thing about it because they ain't doing nothing about nothing else. So we just gonna have to wait. Hope we win it so we can do something about stuff. But until then, nothing's gonna happen, I don't think.
Well, I think one thing that is important to keep in mind is that, and Mo, I think Mike said this, is that we need to vote early and vote by mail. You need to get your vote in as early as possible. Not wait until election day, not wait until it's 5 o'clock. And I'm not blaming people. I get we all have different schedules. People have work. Election day should be a day off in this country, but that's a whole other issue. But get those votes in early so that there is less of a chance of you not being able to get your vote in, less of a chance for them to play these hijinks. And that's what we have to do. Is like, if what I want to do in New York, and New York doesn't have these kind of like Republican cheating issues, thankfully, but I want to make sure that I do what I can to get people to know what's on the ballot, to know what's at stake, to get out and vote early, and other people to vote with you.
That's a good point. Going out and voting early. I know I always go like 2 weeks ahead of the actual date that they count the votes. In California, we're allowed to do that. I know Texas is really messed up. They have been for a long time of somehow blocking people, right, to be able to have the time to vote and to have a good window. What's wrong with that?
And the mail-in ballots is suspect because he don't like them, and there was some issues in Indiana with that. I'm gonna have to look further into it, but I have to mail in often because I'm not always in the state. And there's a question about when those votes get put in and when they don't, I believe, in this state. But I have to look into it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is like, and Alexis mentions this, is there, when you vote by mail or you vote early, usually there's a way to track to make sure that your vote counts. And if you vote early enough, you can make sure that your vote counts. And if you see that there's some shenanigans going on, figure it out beforehand. Don't wait until election day. That's too late.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Thank goodness our elections in California, we do mail in. I mean, it's easy to vote.
Yeah. California and New York are anomalies. And so is Texas of its own making. I'm in the red state, turn red before noon every year, except for one it didn't. And that was Obama. Other than that, I know it's going to be red. And it makes me upset.
I say cheaters are going to cheat. And
that's why we have everyone to come out early.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm saying we're talking about Trump. He's the man that wanted to turn 11,000 votes after everybody had voted.
Right. That's why our turnout has to be so big that they can't. So big. So there are a couple of, I guess, interesting results. So let's just listen to
what surprised me most. That's a good question. There were a couple of big names that are not moving forward, shall we say. Dan Crenshaw being one of them. That's a big one. I mean, you just think about where Dan Crenshaw was, 10 years ago, or several years ago, and the role that he played in the Republican Party to now is kind of remarkable. I'll tell you the truth. I'm a little bit surprised by the Jasmine Crockett James Tallarico race and the result that James Tallarico is
seemed like a flip of the coin when we were going into it.
It really did, and I think that it's really telling how people talked about this race last fall and Tallarico's prospects in the race to now here we are, and Jasmine Crockett is not the victor that people thought she was going to be, essentially.
It's interesting because polling on it went back and forth. And so 2 weeks ago, she was way up. Then a week ago, he was way up.
It was like 9 points.
Right. And you're like, what's going on here? The sway back and forth. And of course, it illustrates just how significant media culture is in our elections. And it sounds dumb, and we've known this since the Nixon era, but a thing like The Late Show shifted his tides. The blogger experience that happened supposedly with something Tallarico had said shifted the tides the other way, and that these media impacts, when they fell, really had an impact. Had they been flipped, this race might have been flipped.
What surprised me most? That's a good question.
That's interesting. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, when he mentioned blogger, I'm thinking it's the whole thing that happened with Keith Edwards, where Keith Edwards was getting into all kinds of online fights with Black women influencers, and that was not a good look. And the Tallarico campaign distanced himself from him, and we're just like, he's a fan. But Keith Edwards fought hard for James Tallarico, and when I watched his behavior online, I unfollowed that man on all the platforms I followed him on. I was so disappointed in his behavior.
I was too.
Yeah.
And the man that, like I said, that talked to Reese yesterday and said, well, Jasmine Crockett needs to calm down. You know, they didn't tell Donald Trump he needs to calm down. And then the other lady, she called in. She said, I'm going to vote for Tallarico. And she was crying. And they said, why are you crying? And she said, because I love Jasmine Crockett, but I'm going to vote for Tallarico. And I did watch Tallarico and Crockett do their debate. And I'm not saying that Tallarico is not qualified, but that's still not who I would have chose.
He is
funny.
Qualified. Oh, go ahead, Kim.
No, I was just saying it's always women they tell that you need to calm down, or they're too emotional.
Be sweet.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You haven't smiled
Sorry.
the whole time I've known you. You know how he says, you ain't smiling. All you do is frown all the time. I would say, do something good to make me smile, and maybe I'll grin for you.
But these men aren't going around smiling.
And that's what I'm saying.
Donald Trump go to sleep. He go to sleep, and then he play the music, and he go side to side and do his arms like that. And he won. I don't believe he won. I don't believe that.
None of us do. And here we are.
He cheated on every freaking election that he ran.
Right.
Anyway, that's another issue. I know a video you're talking about with the white woman who was all in tears because I really want her, but I don't think she's going to win. So you're going to reinforce white supremacy and patriarchy because you're guessing what other voters are going to do. The people win if you vote for them. That's how people win.
That's how they win.
What other people are going to do and fucking vote for the candidate you want to win.
And that's what they told him about the black man. You know, she's not free to say what she want to say.
They did the same thing with Obama, but thankfully more of us voted for Obama than didn't. And then once people said, oh, he can win, they got on board. So vote for who you want to win. Don't try and guess what your neighbor thinks and what they're going to do. Do what you want to do.
What they did yesterday, redistricting, you know, gerrymandering before it even started. They had gerrymandered before, you know, the vote had even started. And not tell the people where they need to go to vote.
That should be illegal.
That should be a revote. This should be done again. I think it should be done again.
I'm thinking there might be a lawsuit in there somewhere.
You know,
but there's definitely grounds, in my opinion. I'm a lay lawyer. I watch a lot of Law and Order and true crime.
I just feel like lately, though, we're at a point of like, do we even need to ask, like, is this legal? Because it's not, but we know. And that's where I get frustrated for me on like that line of having hope and losing hope, where it's like, cool, all of these illegal things are happening. Will there ever be justice for them?
And for Ken Paxton, they wanted to impeach Ken Paxton. That went through the Supreme Court here in Texas. So, you know, he called and tried to turn it off. So I'm like, I don't trust you either. And he was having an affair. Donald Trump.
He was having an affair. Yeah. They called it what, biblical?
I don't even remember. You know, oh yeah, shoot, to have 3 wives. They can have 5 wives, and we can only have 1 husband. I think we're fair game.
Oh God, who wants more than 1 husband? I
mean, I got to be a serial killer. No.
Change husband every 10 years.
One thing I want to point out about hope is, you know, Andrea before the show mentioned what enslaved people did to get free and all the struggles and challenges that they were able to get past to get to the point of freedom. Think about enslaved people. Think about women and how women have been suppressed. Think about the Native Americans. Think about any group that has been oppressed and has made strides in this country. It is by using the system and finding workarounds. And that's what we have to do. We can't just think that this system is rigged against us. There's no hope. And I also get down about this. Like, this cheating it's messed up. Like, the fact that they can get away with this sucks. But we have to be smarter than them. We have to figure out a workaround, because there is a workaround. And that's how we get ahead in the society.
Yeah. And that's why I was proud of Minneapolis. They fought back.
Yeah.
You know, it was sad to see people go, but they fought back. And if we're not willing to fight, and I'm sorry, we might have to fight about something else again, but we have to be willing to fight for what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Find ways within the system, stand up, speak out, go out, protests, spend your money with people that are for democracy. All those things have been working.
People help people babysit. They would cook for people. They would go out and protest. If you needed to get somebody to deliver groceries to you, they made sure groceries got to you. That's humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It'd be nice to get back to some humanity.
Okay.
So speaking of humanity, or speaking of lack of it, let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the war that we find ourselves in. That
call it Iran.
Iran.
How could we go any lower? We have causing a war.
I'm sure they'll find ways to go lower, unfortunately.
No, I
agree.
It was used to be a song to say, "Hello, can you go bass?"
All right, so let's listen to a little bit of this, and we'll talk about what's been going on.
And if I may, yesterday we got Marco Rubio, who just admitted it, and I can't believe he still has his job. He straight up says that we did a proactive, preemptive strike because there was no imminent threat, but Israel had already committed to striking. And then we realized if Israel was going to strike, there might be retaliation against our bases. So that's why we preemptively and proactively attacked. Translation: Israel was going to strike. New York Times corroborated yesterday that Benjamin Netanyahu kind of bullied or pressured or cajoled Donald Trump to do it. Instead of using our immense leverage over Israel to stop them, we went ahead, and then to make it worse, Jim.
Yeah.
February 25th, Politico said that some people in the White House want Israel to strike first to give them cover to remove the regime change. To make it worse, they said, oh, no. We collaborated with Israel. And then, Jim, to make it even more worse, no exit plan. And
no exit plan.
Last thing I'll say is, I'll have a lot more to say, but last thing I'll say is, notice that Rubio says, it's a war. Mark Wayne Mullen. It's not a war. Hexa, it is a war. Trump, it isn't a war. I mean, this is what happens, Jim, when you're being run by the world's most ignorant, reckless cosplay crusaders. It's terrible.
No, it's absolutely, I mean, they're all over the place in a major way. And I mean, to a lot of your points, I mean, we are here right now because Donald Trump blew up the Iran nuclear deal. And lo and behold, his own people were trying to work out some sort of diplomatic agreement with the Iranians up until the point when this happened. And if you had the Iran nuclear deal, you wouldn't be doing any of this stuff. I mean, this happened years ago. The other thing we should point out is, I mean, to your point about, I mean, this whole storyline, was it Netanyahu who pressured Trump? who did what. Netanyahu was asked about this on Fox. We should play this because it's a remarkable piece of video. Hannity straight up asks Netanyahu about this, and for like a few seconds, he just sort of nervously chuckles. Let's play this.
This is eerie.
Yeah. People that say, well, the prime minister of Israel dragged Donald Trump into it. And as somebody that's been friends with him over 30 years, nobody drags Donald Trump into anything, number one, but I want to get your reaction to that.
Well, you're right. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Donald
Trump is the strongest leader in the world.
Okay, so that was not a vehement denial. That was not what we would call a full-throated denial there from Bibi Netanyahu. And then Donald Trump was asked about the chaos, at all the airports and people trying to get out of the region and so on. And then he let slip this explanation that, well, they thought Israel was going to get attacked. It sort of goes to the Marco Rubio thing that they're throwing out there. Let's play that.
Right now is severely restricted in the Middle East, and thousands of Americans are stranded. Why wasn't there an evacuation
I agree, Marley.
plan, and will you send planes to get people out?
Well, because it happened all very quickly. We thought, and I thought maybe more so than most, I could ask Marco, but I thought we were going to have a situation where we were going to be attacked. They were getting ready to attack Israel. They were getting ready to attack others. You're seeing that right now. And a lot of those missiles that are hitting in, those are stationary. Those were aimed there for a long period of time at these other countries. So I think I was right about that. We attacked first. And if we didn't, it could have been, look, we're really decimating them. They're being decimated.
Waj, I mean, first of all, they said they were decimating the Iranians last year. I mean, that was sort of last year's talking point, but it's all over the place. And I don't know if it's the gold fumes getting to him. But at one point, let's ask Marco about this. And the other point that I think we need to hammer home is, I mean, this is pretty ridiculous. The U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem tweeted this out overnight. The U.S. Embassy is not in a position at this time to evacuate or directly assist Americans in departing Israel. The following is provided for your information as you make your own security plans. They go on to tell people, well, you might be able to catch a shuttle at a border crossing, and maybe you can get out that way. I mean, this is sort of like when you get stranded at JFK and they put you on the bus to the train, to see if you can somehow get to your final destination. Where the metro, breaks out in DC and they put you on the bus that'll get you up to, Friendship Heights or so. None of this makes any sense. They're all over the place. The world.
Yeah, they're all over the place. I'm going to stop that one right here.
Have you guys heard the voicemail of if you're overseas in one of the countries you should leave? Like the voicemail that you get, it says like, don't trust the United States government to get you back home. It's some weird, eerie robot voice. And like if you're in like Saudi Arabia or like Qatar or something, like that's what you hear as you try to get out of the country.
Well, my problem is people know what time it is and people have free will. And I know people have to go home and different things, but you got to start paying attention. And so you know when to duck. Quit traveling during this crazy mess. It makes me mad. And then everybody got to come save you. I'm not saying, but people just going about their regular day and they don't want to get engaged. But then when they go pay attention, they go and do things and it exacerbates the situation, in my opinion. Because right now we live in uncharted territory and this man's crazy. And one more thing, Iran, preemptive, we're in danger, lies.
Lies.
How is over 100 Iranian schoolgirls a threat to anybody?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, and this has layers that we all need to be aware of, because right now they are saying there are some of our soldiers, our military personnel are concerned because they are being told that this action is ordained by Jesus to bring in Armageddon. This is crazy.
We're going to talk about that too a little bit.
It's crazy.
So, yeah, I want to go back to Jazzy. Jazzy, you're right. Nutty Yahoo. Nutty Yahoo. That was a perfect. Nutty Yahoo. Yeah. All the comments have been spot on. Everybody, thank you for contributing. Let's
BB
talk
got
about
blackmailed too, so he got to do what Donald got to do what he say, because he got the papers in the videos.
Yeah,
I say that those Epstein files that we have not seen must be some awful information.
And already the stuff that we've heard or it's like read is awful. And then let's not forget like some of the other victims literally giving their own statements. And then I saw one today. I think it was Jim Acosta was interviewing one of the victims. And something that's been kind of on my mind lately is why don't we hear any of them outright name Trump or some of these other people, but we hear everything about Epstein, but it's like, well, Epstein is dead, maybe, allegedly. But like they're still nervous about still getting in trouble.
They should be, because they'd be hurt.
And haven't they been through enough? Like, it's insane that they still have to deal with this and relive all of that. It's
but that's the way it's been done all over the world to regular people and them, because most women don't get any kind of justice.
Mace said, well, it's funny, in 2019, they even say I was in the video. I'm like, probably were, because it was a couple of y'all, his wife been in it. So, he married the woman. He met a woman through Epstein and married her. But she had already slept with Epstein.
Girl, do not get me started on Nancy Mace.
And why would they depose Hillary without deposing Melania? She knew Epstein better than anybody. Both of them knew Epstein better than Hillary or Bill.
Yeah. Wow.
I just know my heart goes out to the military people
families,
who lost their families for no reason, and also to all the Iranians who have perished for this war that started over nothing. The other thing is, I don't want to see fucking Pete Hegseth on my TV. I'm sick of that man.
Oh my God.
This week I have woken up to that man on my TV spewing his bullshit with his raged out, roided out, fucking drunk ass self, being hostile to the reporters and saying nothing. Like, how is this man in charge of what we do in the military? He is so unqualified.
Epic Fury, like this is part 2. And Epic Fury also, EF stands for Epstein Files. Yeah.
The way
Epstein Files.
The way he treats female reporters is like they are second-rate human beings.
Well, Donald sets the example.
There were 6 servicemen killed, 18 injured, and over 556 Iranian people that passed away for no reason, just to avoid talking about it, because it was time to depose Donald Trump, and he'll do anything to not go through that, because he can't, because he tells the truth and he lies at the same time. I don't know if y'all noticed yet. He lies and when you listen to him, you got to decipher what part is true.
He confesses.
What part is a lie.
He confesses. So what irritates me too, so we've lost these servicemen and women, we've destroyed families for no reason, and Hegseth has the nerve to stand up there, well, basically this is what happens in war, we have some casualties of war. It's that is just so disgusting to me.
And this is coming from someone who wasn't fit to serve overseas.
Yeah.
Because of his white nationalist tattoos.
And mainstream media.
What's that rash on his neck? What's the rash on his neck? It went from his hand to his neck now.
Please let it be Death Friday. Let's listen to a little bit more about these the school, the young girls.
Early Saturday morning, one of the first strikes of the U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran hit a girls' school in Manab in southern Iran. The death toll is now at least 175, most of them primary school girls. On Tuesday, thousands of people filled the streets of Manab for a mass funeral. The girls' ages range from 7 to 12. Iran's school week runs from Saturday to Thursday. When the missile hit the school on Saturday morning, the girls were in their morning session. After the strike, parents searched for their children among the dead.
This is her math book, Mohana Sari, first grade.
Oh, God.
This is her folder with her schoolwork, her homework here. What wrong has she done? Her color pencil box is still in her bag.
While Iran blamed Israel for the attack, neither Israel nor the United States has taken responsibility for the bombing.
No, they didn't.
On Tuesday, the United Nations Human Rights Office urged the forces behind the attack on the girls' school to investigate.
In Iran, the Iran Red Crescent Society reports put the death toll at 787. In the single deadliest and devastating incident, dozens of girls were reportedly killed and injured when their primary school in Minab, in the south of the country, was struck during the school day. The High Commissioner calls for a prompt, impartial, and thorough investigation into the circumstances of the attack. The onus is on the forces that carried out the attack to investigate it. We call on them to make public the findings and to ensure accountability and redress for the victims.
For more, we're joined by investigative reporter Nilu Tabrizi. She's worked extensively with open source material to report on Iran for the Washington Post and the New York Times. She's been tracking what she calls the information wars online over the school bombing. Her recent piece for New Lines magazine is headlined "Investigation Debunks Claims IRGC Bombed Iranian School." She joins us now in studio. Welcome back to Democracy Now!, Nilu. Explain exactly what you understand took place. And it's really hard right now with the internet almost totally turned off in Iran.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, we're not necessarily able to get in touch with eyewitnesses or, friends and families of the young girls who were killed, but we were able to verify the video. So there was one video that I saw probably around 6:30 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday, and I was able to verify that and know that the video that we saw that showed at least, half of the structure was hit, 2 stories were torn down. The scene was really graphic. I saw things like a small child's hand in the rubble, bloodstained backpacks, homework scattered everywhere. And so when I see scenes like that, it's important to verify and know that it's from the current moment. So I was able to do that. And then once I found the locations of the school itself, just being able to map, some of the features we saw in the video with satellite imagery, I wanted to understand what was around there. Minab is a small town in the southern Hormozgan province. I was trying to understand why the school was struck. What I saw and what many others online saw as well is that it was close to an IRGC Navy barracks.
And explain what the IRGC is.
The IRGC is the Revolutionary Guard. So there was an IRGC, Navy barracks around there. And I wanted to, understand, is this an issue of wrong targeting? Once I looked at satellite imagery, it was clear that for years ago, it used to be part of, it looked like it was very close to the base, part of the base. As far back as 2016, it was completely walled off. There was a separation between that school and the IRGC Navy barracks. And as well, the walls of the school were painted with these bright murals. So obviously, if I can see as an open source investigator that as far back as, 8 years ago, these brightly colored walls are visible, I know that this is not part of an IRGC base, and so should anybody that's adding this to a target list.
You've reported that the pro-Pahlavi monarchy accounts have been spreading a narrative that this was a failed IRGC rocket. And explain what these forces are.
Yes. So right now there's, I think people are trying to co-opt a narrative or, put forth what's happening that feels convenient to the story that they want to push and the goals that they have. And right now it seems that any reporting on civilian casualties becomes a flashpoint. And there was one quite prominent user on X that tweeted out and said that actually the Iranian state already took responsibility for the strike. So we started to look at that claim. The channel that they put forward was not an Iranian state official channel. It was a Telegram channel that's a pro-monarchy channel. So you can understand, where this type of misinformation is starting to spread.
Talk about the response on the...
That's okay. I'm just so... These are war crimes.
What are we doing? What is this? What?
No,
We're doing Benjamin Netanyahu's bidding is what we're doing. And we have a compromised government right now, and they're doing what they want to do. And this is the thing. I'm watching mainstream media just so I can look at to see what they're a little bit. I can't hardly stomach it, but they're making it seem like the Iranians are all for it and they're so excited, and they're going to have this big conclave like thing to pick their new leader. And they're not saying anything, briefly mentioning atrocities and not even mentioning the fact that he didn't go to Congress for this conflict. So whatever we're doing, nobody's trying to stop it at this point.
The thing that makes me frustrated too is, like I hear like, oh, Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey are coming together to make some war resolution. That's all well and great, but you really think he's going to listen to it? He's not doing he is just taking the three branches of government and pissing all over them. That's all he's doing, because he thinks that he's the big man and he can just do whatever he wants and nobody's going to stop him. And we've seen that for the last year. And it's just getting worse.
Well, the problem too is he's got Supreme Court on his side. That's never happened before in these kinds of situations. And not only, we just need the Democrats, the majority in the Senate and the Congress. I mean, I know we all know that right here, but
they calling Hakeem Jeffries AIPAC secure, so I don't know how good that's going to do.
If we don't have that, we're blocked because the Republicans aren't doing anything.
The Republicans aren't doing,
or the other guy, I can't remember his name no more. The other one in charge of the Democrats.
The Republicans aren't doing anything, and neither are a lot of the Democrats, because some you mentioned AIPAC with Hakeem.
It's Hakeem and what's
Schumer.
Schumer.
If
I was told that they're all in with this. That's why
there is a web.
Schumer said that we have a duty to what was his word? He was on video saying we have a
duty to protect Israel.
Yeah, some bullshit.
There is a website that is an anti-AIPAC website that has all the facts about the PACs and who takes money from them, and it's the cabinet. Yeah, it's the cabinet, it's the Congress, it's the Senate, and the ones who take the most money from AIPAC, unfortunately, are Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones, and there's maybe out of all the states and all in the House and the Senate, there's maybe 10 that don't take any AIPAC money.
And that's why people don't want to vote.
Well, part of the problem is that how it's structured, because they can also get retaliated on inadvertently, and that piece of it is the piece that's it. If you don't do, we will primary you.
Well, that's the big part of when we do get out of this, and I do believe still that we will get out of this. That has to be fixed right there.
Yeah.
Corporate money,
I think we'll get out of it.
All that money out of politics.
That's right.
Period.
We have to get out.
And when we go on strike, and the military don't get paid and nobody get paid, they shouldn't get paid.
Correct.
All right.
You're right. Yeah.
Well, we all need to get out and get behind and support young, progressive, free thinkers who are not bought by the system. I think some of these people, they go in with the right intentions and then it becomes a career. They want to be there. It's a paycheck, and they forget the mission.
Mm-hmm.
They are supposed to be representing us, our voices. And if we are saying we do not like AIPAC, that's who you should be listening to, your constituents.
Mm-hmm.
They're not listening to their constituents anymore. And we need to back people that are willing to fight for us.
To be on either side.
We need term limits will help fix
I keep trying to post the link in the chat, but it's not letting me. Go to trackaipac.com, and it not only does it list who takes all the money, it also lists candidates that they endorse. And it's a lot. Do your you just got to take like 15 minutes out of your day and do some research. And it's amazing what you can find with resources. But people just want that instant satisfaction and don't want to have to work. And that's what's...
Yeah. So the war, this is something we're going to have to keep our eye on with everything that's going on. But I wanted to turn back to, I think, Katie, you mentioned this. We talked about it earlier. U.S. troops are being told that the Iran war is intended to bring about Armageddon. These are our Christian nationalists. These are Hegseth and people like him who are making this into some sort of religious war. This is despicable. I guess there were over 200 military who are reporting this, who are not happy about it, who are reporting that this is happening, and this is what they're being told within the troops. This is a problem, a huge problem. So he urged us to tell our troops that this was all part of God's divine plan. And he specifically referenced numerous citations out of the book of Revelation. Anonymous officer says in a complaint to the watchdog. This is what's happening to our military. So American service members across every branch of the military have been told by commanders that the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran is intended to induce biblical end times or Armageddon, according to complaints lodged with the U.S. watchdog.
Ted Cruz even said it. Ted Cruz said he came into it because he feels like, even though he's a constitutionalist and he's not, as much as he acts like he is stupid, but he is not stupid. He knows what he's doing, but he's got this whole thing that they're going to usher in end times, and that that they got to get the Dome on the Rock and all that stuff, and this all is going to start, but it's all a scam.
Revelation talks about you're going to have to get the mark of the beast. And but I didn't know you get the mark on the beast on your hand and your neck.
I was going to say, it's just going to start popping up in different places for all of them.
That's serious. I don't know if people realize how serious that is. And how twisted that all is, and how upsetting that we should all be that this is happening.
But this actually started 10 years ago, if not longer, that they looked up at Trump as a god. I don't know how that happened.
But people don't.
God wore diapers. I didn't know he smelled so bad, and I didn't know he loved McDonald's.
That's what I mean. And people don't know these things. They're not paying attention.
Yeah. People have
I don't watch.
This is also the same people that literally wore pads on their ear after he got shot.
Yeah.
Got shot.
I don't even believe it.
Okay, so we're up on our time, and I just wanted to make sure.
We got loopy now.
Go ahead, Keish.
There's someone I follow on Threads who's an attorney and a Navy vet, and he had this great thread where he breaks down how Iran knows that they are up against a huge military. We have lots of resources. We have a huge military force, and their intention is not to try to win this war. Their intention is to try and drain us of all of the money, to drain us of our resources, and tire us out. His name is Maja Porter, so Maja Porter on Threads. It's from 2 days ago. I highly recommend checking it out. He breaks down, and it's like, the longer we stay there, we're going to lose so much money, so many lives, and unnecessarily. We got to get out of this.
Yeah, I saw that.
So let's remind me, both Keisha and Katie,
going in Trump's bank account, though.
To take those links and put them in the description so that people can find them. So we will do that. I wanted to make sure that we had equal opportunity discussions around all the lunatics that are in this administration. And so I shared this video with some of y'all earlier. So I want to show it as we close out today.
Oh, man.
Taco, senor? tales worth telling. There's a sad one left to tell about a man who most would say ascended straight from hell.
His disposition's rotten, he could make a flower cry. Stephen Miller is a hateful kind of guy.
Stephen Miller is an asshole. He's an asshole. Stephen Miller is a twat. He's a twat. Stephen Miller is a million things a decent man is not. Decent man is not. Stephen Miller is a douchebag. He's a douchebag. Stephen Miller is a turd. He's a turd. Stephen Miller is a nerdy, dirty word.
Obviously, Greenland should be part of the United States.
Yes, his head looks like a penis, and his face looks like he died. His sneer belongs to Satan. It's an evil kind of snide.
He's trying to save America from anyone who's brown. Stephen Miller is the meanest guy in town. Stephen Miller is an asshole. He's an asshole. Stephen Miller is a twat. He's a twat. Stephen Miller is a million things a decent man is not. Decent man is not. Stephen Miller is a douchebag. He's a douchebag. Stephen Miller is a turd. He's a turd. Stephen Miller is a nerdy, dirty word. Dirty word. When history writes her story, he's the one who'll make it weep, as he slinks between the pages with his special brand of creep.
He hates the disadvantage, cause he says they bring us down.
But boom or bust, he's really just a rootin' tootin' clown. Stephen Miller is an asshole. He's an asshole. Stephen Miller is a twat. He's a twat. Stephen Miller is a million things a decent man is not. Decent man is not. Stephen Miller is a douchebag. Stephen Miller is a turd. He's a turd. Stephen Miller is a dirty word.
The United States of America is running Venezuela. By definition, that's true. Jake, we live in a we live in a world in which you can...
do shut up. I love that last part. Oh, do shut up.
You said how?
Oh my God.
Get out.
There's some creative people out there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I will tell you. And to put that to country is classic.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
My girlfriend sent me that. I just, oh my God.
And Melania.
All right, everybody. I know it's only Wednesday. It's been a hell of a week. Hang in there. Thank you, everybody who joins us in the chat. We so appreciate you so much.
Yes.
We love having conversations. And if you could please like, share, and subscribe. It helps us grow the channel. It helps us get more content out and to get the truth. Get the truth out to people. So please. And if you are so inclined, we would love for you to also become a member and help support the work. We appreciate any and all support. So any last words from anybody thank you, Jazzy. Any last words?
I have some last words, but they're not pretty words.
Are they dirty words?
I was sharing with a coworker. I said I have my show tonight, and he was like, "What's it about again?" I said politics, and so we started talking about the terrible people in this administration. And he said, "I want to see guillotines," and I think that Steve Miller is one of the worst people in this administration, and I want to see him cut open and have his entrails pulled out by animals.
Like that tells how you really feel.
A painful, horrible death.
Oh my! See, this regime has people going medieval.
Right.
Right. We are. We're going thousands and thousands of years ago.
I didn't heard some nice people say some stuff. Like,
they say they want to go back. Take them back.
Take them back.
Wow. That was how you really feel.
Right.
Doesn't it, Steve Miller?
Don't hold back. No hold back.
Don't hold back. Got it. All right, everybody. Thank you again.
Thank
We are
you.
back on Friday with our roundtable, Voices from the Edge.
Yes.
So join us then and have a wonderful, wonderful night. we'll see you in a couple days.
Peace out,
Thank you.
We the people unite.